Hey y'all, it's Burgess Taylor, and I am participating in the 10 questions about journaling with Brie from Documented Journey and Heather Matter. I will leave the links to their videos about this below. Question number 1. How long have you been journaling, and do you remember your first journal? I was 7 years old, and I had a pink faux leather small journal with a lock and a key, so almost 50 years. A very long time. I do not have that journal anymore, but I remember it. Number 2, what is the purpose of journaling for you, and why do you journal? This is it's probably like a 3 or 4 fold answer. I journal to organize my thoughts, my life, my ideas, for memory keeping, to focus my mind, to manage anxiety, to reduce stress, to organize my life. So definitely so I can remember things, which is different than memory keeping. Memory keeping is more for like a legacy, to leave a legacy. I also journal to process things, and I journal because it's fun. Journaling also helps me cope with depression. Number 3, do you ever abandon a journal or have journaling breaks? If so, why? Well, if you've been following me for a while, then you know I have abandoned journals, planners. If they do not work for me whatsoever at all, I will abandon them. Most of the time, if I switch to something different, I will eventually go back to that journal and use it for something else, hopefully within that same year. But if not, as long as I'm dating things, I'm okay with skipping around. Normally, though, I have journals that are for specific things, so I just will continue to use it for that specific thing. I'll just go back to it. Or, like I said, I'll use it for something different. Usually, I repurpose it in some way, shape, or form. I'm not in every single journal every single day, but I do journal every day. Number 4, do you keep only one journal or many? I used to keep only one journal. From elementary school through to about 2000, the early 2000s, I had a journal that was primarily text, but I did add things. So it was kind of like a combination of a smash book. I would add pictures, I had text journaling, I would add poetry, doodles, a little piece of wrapping paper or a tag from something or a receipt or a ticket stub or whatever. I added things to that. Back in the day, we didn't have anything but Elmer's glue and Scotch tape, so we've come a long way since then. Now I have a number of journals, and I'm going to read some of them off to you. I have an everything journal, a personal planner journal, a studio planner journal, a spiritual journal, an astrology journal, a therapy journal, an everyday carry, which is the Hobonichi A6. I think it's the English version. I have a 5-year journal. I have a self-growth and development journal. I have a commonplace book, or 3. I have a morning pages book, an evening pages, and like a document life art journal kind of journal. So, and that's just to name a few, because there are some that I probably have, like a tarot journal, but that's normally, now that's become more of my spiritual journal. Number 5, what makes a journal system right for you, and what do you need in a system? Journaling and planning are different, and in some things I have them combined. When I used the Omni Journal, which was just one for everything, I had everything in it. However, the more that I used it, the more that I found that I really did not like having my to-dos, my list of to-dos on the page I was going to journal on. I don't mind journaling on my page where I have to-dos, but that's a different kind of, anyway. For me, journaling is about what is needed and what is wanted, which changes and evolves as I change and evolve. Like, I just reset my planner system and changed a few things around. I went to the standard, and I had tried over and over and over again to use inserts. That didn't work for me, so I ended up using the standard because I like standard for list. I got the Sterling Ink Common Planner standard, and I have been using it for planning so far for a couple of weeks now, and I'm loving it. I am a little bit creative in it, but mostly it is planning. I have an everything journal, which is what I'm reading this out of, where I answered the questions, and this is the Nanami paper 7 C's crossfield, which we'll get to in a moment again. Number 5, again, we're back to what makes a journal system. So as I change, and evolve, so do the things that I need for my systems. But my basic needs are a planner, and I prefer structure and flexibility, a journal for more text heavy journaling, and then a journal that's more for memory keeping, which is the combination of art and words, and all the other things are just extra. So I need something that I can just write, and then I need a planner, and then I need something that I can combine art and words. The one where I just write, that's more for processing, that's more for brain dumps, for documenting research, and it's very text heavy. There might be a few doodles here and there in it, but it's mostly going to be text heavy. Whereas my document life journal is going to be the combination of art and words. So whatever kind of art we're talking, where I'm drawing and watercoloring, or I'm adding pictures, or I'm doing collage, or I'm adding everyday ephemera, or whatever. Number 6. Do you have a favorite notebook or pen when it comes to your journaling? Well, this really depends on what I'm doing, but for the most part, my favorite planner journal is going to have Tomoe River paper in it. That's my preference. I prefer grid or dot grid for most things. I do, however, for like morning pages or a very text heavy journal, or my journals that are for writing where I do like outlining and stuff, lined. So Nanami Paper 7C's Crossfield, one of my very favorite journals. That's what this is. Okay, this is editing, Burgess, and I needed to take a minute to let you know that when I was in the Fobonichi journaling group, I found out about several different types of journals. I had tried the Moleskine, I had tried the Luddite Huge, which was just too big for that kind of journaling. I also had tried inexpensive journals, say from Walmart, but I found that the more I tried to add wet media to certain types of paper, the more trouble I was having. The paper pilled really bad because I was a beginner. I found out through a friend in the Fobonichi journaling group, Yukari, about the Nanami Paper 7C standard, which is the Crossfield's blank version. They didn't have the Crossfield out at that time, and I had, through a friend, found not long after that the 7C's writer version, which is their lined version, and I use all of those. I have every single one of those. Another favorite, while we're talking about Tomoe River paper, of mine is a company named Good Ink Impressions. Their journals have Tomoe River paper, and they have a variety of sizes and types. The new B5 Sterling Ink composition notebook, the B5, it's Tomoe River paper and it's grid. I love her B6 journals, her A5 journals. I also love Create with Pens journals, and I also love Taroko Designs Enigma. I like white Tomoe River paper. I'm not really into cream paper at all, no matter what kind of paper it is. The Enigma from Taroko Shop is 68 GSM Tomoe River paper, so it's wonderful for documenting life where you're adding art and words, where you have a lot of watercolor, a lot of art. I love composition notebooks. I use a composition notebook for several different kinds of things, mostly for processing, for morning pages, and that kind of thing. I have several different kinds of composition notebooks, and I love the Hobonichi. I love the Hobonichi Cousin. I love the Hobonichi Avec and the Hobonichi Full Year Cousin, the Spring Edition, the regular edition. I love the Hobonichi A6. I love their notebooks. The only one I'm not fond of is the Weeks. And I love what Catherine's done with Sterling Ink. That very first one that I had, the binding on it, the cover, but she changed all that. So since then, they've been absolutely wonderful. So pens, I love a fountain pen. I absolutely love a fountain pen. My favorites are the Vanishing Points or the Decimo. I do have a Decimo, a couple of different ones of these. I think I have 3. 2 of these that are the thicker, wider ones, and I have the light purple one that's the thinner Decimo one, and I have a red one that's a faux Vanishing Point. TWSBI, I love TWSBI's Eco. I love the classic. I have a couple of different ones. They're the 560 or whatever. I have 2 different ones of those. But I also love this new Zebra Blend that I have. I also am loving the Energel Clina. I love the Uni Jetstream. I do love using the Hobonichi pens. I like the Big Crystal. I use big crystals in the Hobonichi pen sometimes a lot for drawing. And I love these, which are the Uni pens. This is the oil-based one, which you can write on washi. You can write on those clear Post-it notes. I have the black one and I have the white oil-based, and I love the Uniball pens. I use those in the white, the red, the silver, the gold. All I really need for my journaling is a waterproof pen, a pencil. I do prefer to draw with pencil first, but I have practiced with pen first just to get over that fear of making mistakes. So a waterproof pen, a pencil, some watercolors, and some kind of watercolor brush or a water brush. And then I like using everyday life ephemera, things that come in on your mail, or a gift, a tag, or the wrapping paper that came on a gift, or a ribbon, or the tag that come on your clothes, or the receipt for something, or like a ticket stub, like when we went to a concert, or when we went to medieval times, different things like that. I will cut up labels that a pen came in, or that something like that came in, and I will use those in my journals. Journaling style, which is what, number 7, how would you describe your journaling style? Sometimes messy, sometimes neat, creative, colorful, wordy, fun, a combination of things, really. And definitely, I am so not a minimalist when it comes to me, myself, journals, everything. I'm so not a minimalist. But I do appreciate and love journal pages and people that are. I really do. I would love to be that organized and that clean, that neat. I would love that. Number 8, where do you get your journaling inspiration from? Everyday life is a big, big thing. I'd say ordinary things that are part of everyday life. It can be events that are worldwide, statewide, community-wide, family, friends, loved ones. My daughter, she's an artist, and how she can do certain things and how gifted she is, it inspires me to want to do better. There are some other people that I follow that do that same thing for me. Art, photography, nature, other creators. So I'm going to start with some of the creators. Now for journaling, more text kind of journaling and just journaling in general, I would say Heather Mattern. And one of the reasons for that is because she follows her own truth and she reminds me that there are no rules. And I'd say Brie from Documented Journey, she inspires me to practice, to improve. I love her style and I love the way that she shows. I follow her on Patreon and I love the way that, and I'm going to say the way that she teaches. Kat Riles, as an artist, she created the Roots and Wings Oracle deck that I use. I did the Kickstarter for her new Oracle deck that's coming out. I follow her on Patreon too. I also follow By Bun on Patreon. I used to follow Mini Smalls, and both of them inspire me. One, they both inspire me to improve my videos, to improve things, to try to be more natural, and to want to vlog. I experiment with it sometimes on Patreon. I'm trying to do better, but I'm not a real big social media person. So I don't post pictures on Instagram and stuff like that every day. I don't post reels. I don't even know how to do that. I don't automatically film every single thing I do. I specifically film the bigger things that I do for Patreon and for YouTube. So I will take pictures of things because I want to add them to my journal because of my grandkids or my kids or family or the house or the yard or something I do in the studio or something in general. But yeah, I'm not real big on social media. My first thought isn't, oh, I need to post that to Instagram. So I need to get better at doing that and doing those things so I have more content to actually create vlogs and get better at vlogging. I am also inspired by them artistically and creatively. Their artwork is very different, but they both inspire me greatly. So does Brie with her artwork. Number 9, what does your journaling routine look like and how often do you journal? I journal on and off probably all day long and in the evenings. I start in the morning with morning pages and an oracle pull. Most of the time that is my own version of morning pages, which is kind of like a mind spill, where I'm spilling all the things that are on my mind out onto the page, including what I think about that oracle card, how it inspires me creatively, what I want to focus on for the day, what do I want to get done, what am I worried about. Throughout the day, I write things down, I process things, I plan, I check off, I organize, I create art and draw and sketch and doodle and watercolor. I take pictures sometimes, I print pictures sometimes, I practice art and sketching. Usually it's something from my day. And then in the evening, I am usually reviewing and reflecting, and that's sort of part of my evening pages. And then sometimes while I'm watching TV in the evenings, I will catch up on anything that I didn't get done during the day. Like maybe I need to watercolor what I drew, or maybe I wrote things down and I put stuff in the journal. And I maybe wrote down something on a post-it note that I wanted to draw, but I didn't actually get around to doing that. So it depends on how busy my day is. I will, in the evening, sometimes journal and do all that together. So I'm doing that kind of catch up. Throughout the day, I keep my studio planner journal, which is the Hobonichi Cousin AVEC. So right now it's the January through June. And I keep it open or closed and right on my desk, because that is for the things that come in and go out of the studio. Whether it's planning, which I do mostly on the calendar pages or on the weekly pages. And then on the daily pages, that's where I'm documenting things. And on occasion, I have like a little to-do list. Usually it's the top priorities for the studio. In my personal planner journal, which is the spring edition Hobonichi Cousin, I document life. In the beginning pages on the monthly, I have events, birthdays, appointments, bills, anything major that happens. I'll write like one little word or I'll put a little sticker. I have stuff in the weekly. It depends on what it is that I put in the weekly. And then on the daily pages, I journal. I draw stuff, write stuff. Then I also have the standard common planner, the N1H, or the N, I think that's what it is. I can look and see. The N1H standard common planner from Sterling Ink that I started using. That video just went up where I reset things for April, and I'm using that as a planner. It is a planner. I like it because I got the Salty Katie Co. cover, can take it out of the Traveler's Notebook and just carry it in a pen with me. And in the little inside of the plastic where, I can put like my stencil or whatever. And I also am loving her B5 composition notebook from Sterling Ink. It's Tomo River paper as well. And I love my regular composition books that come from Walmart or Dollar Tree or Dollar General or wherever. On occasion, I have ordered some, like I have some decomposition notebooks that I use. I am not really a big fan of spiral bound notebooks. And I would say one of my very favorite art journals to document my life in are the journals that Brie makes that are handmade. And how often do I journal? Yes, so I journal on and off all day. I don't, however, journal in every single thing every single day. There are some things that I journal in a few times a week, some things that I journal in once a week, some things I journal in maybe a couple of times a month. It just depends. So number 10, your one tip for a beginner who wants to get into journaling. I'd say why. Know your why. Journaling should be something that you want to do. It should be something that interests you, that you find fun or relaxing or whatever your why is. It might take you a while to figure out your how or to figure out what you prefer to use. But if you know your why, then you can figure out the how and the what. And I'd say the big thing for me about journaling is that journaling is a form of self-expression where there's no judgment, there's no rules. Everything else in life has so many rules and so much judgment that my journals are one of the places where I'm free to completely and utterly be me. And that's one of the things I've always loved about journaling. I think that's it. I will leave the information below, and I hope you have a good one. And I'm not going to officially tag anybody, but if you're watching this and you want to participate, you are tagged. Have a great one. Bye, y'all.